Hey, folks, welcome to another edition of On the Icebox with Iceberg Bricks. I'm your boy, Iceberg Bricks, and my guest today is a phenomenal Lego builder. Got a chance to meet him at Philly Brick Fest. Was astounded by the monuments of Micropolis builds, micro builds that he has. Even his micro builds has micro builds. And so, and that's how amazing that this person is. Without further ado, my friend Luke, or AKA Structo27, how you doing, good sir?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm doing well, maintaining, man. You recover from you recover from Philly Brickfest yet?
I'd have to say yes and no. Physically, I've recovered. However, the Legos themselves, not so much.
Okay.
They're still all over the place. So,
Right, right. Oh, I can understand that. I got Legos all over the place myself, man. I'm trying not to show everything because it's a mess.
yeah, yeah. Literally, my aerial rug in the living room right now is literally covered in scraps of a few of the pieces that I brought with me because I'm tearing them down and making more segregated sections so it's easier to transport and reset up
Uh-huh.
and even do a little change of the skyline from time to time. It's
Gotcha.
like a big puzzle.
Okay, okay. And,
So,
man, how'd you? I mean, the bills that you had laid out in Philly, man, was just was jaw dropping by far. One of the best displays there at Philly Brick Fest. How'd you get into Lego?
um, I kind of got into Lego by the really kind of like the fall of it because I used to always play outside in the dirt
Hmm.
and with my cars and stuff. And I have like four older siblings that used to have Lego, so I never really had Lego. And for some reason, I still don't know why, but they ended up outside from them, and they ended up getting buried over time.
Okay.
So now, as I got older, maybe I want to say like close to 10.
Hmm.
As I was still playing outside, I wanted to do more real structures
Okay.
instead of the old fashioned let's make a sandcastle type structures.
Right.
So that's when I had like a couple of bricks myself, and I used to do like a I don't know if it's smaller than minifig, but it's larger than the micro scale. It's kind of like in between. I used to
Okay.
do small buildings like that here and there, and set them up in my sand pit and
Hmm.
play with them that way. Um, and then as I got older, and I'd have to say the biggest turning point for me to really get into the skyscrapers and the city skylines and stuff would honestly it would be 9/11 would be that date that changed into a more I guess like a bigger picture of these huge structures that we create live in, you know. So from there I got even more involved in the engineering of it all.
Okay.
So but then of course I was limited on space, so one of the things I was trying to figure out was so how can I get a city
Hmm.
but in a small dense area because I don't have space for minifig city. That would be everywhere.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
and as I played around with the Legos, I decided to put a bunch of bricks together in a certain form,
Hmm.
which came up with the micro scale because when I got a group of them put together, I realized it actually looks like a city.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then from
Uh,
there, I was like, so now I know the scale.
okay. I follow you.
So, and then from there, after that, because I like a lot of the sci-fi, so like Star Trek, Star Wars, Stargate, all that stuff. So
Uh-huh.
to boot it all, to me, the city would be all futuristic. A place where we
Definitely.
actually, coincide nicely amongst each other. So
Right.
I even with what bricks I had, I even designed a couple of ships here and there to have spaceships as well.
Okay.
So But
yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed. You and you displayed that on Philly, and I wish I'd reach out to you, but like, we spending a lot of time with the fans. I mean, even though the off time is our time, but we spend a lot of time with the fans and getting golfed and stuff. So, I mean, I've seen what you've done, and we're about to see what you can do. What's next? What's next on your agenda? What's your Lego aspirations?
honestly, it's kind of just keep going, keep adding to it, keep building, maybe even like
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed like they've become more of like superstructures in the micro scale. But
Uh-huh.
what I want to do is actually take the ones that I've designed and saved on the computer and actually make those become more reality, because they actually are a lot more architecturally artistic,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be absolutely amazing in the setting of the skyline that I have,
Okay.
as well as putting a base to it to give it that realism look.
Okay.
So
All right. Good deal. Good deal. So, how would you describe your Lego work that you do? Like, how would you describe the craft you're showing us?
I would kind of describe it in an art form,
Mm-hmm.
because like I don't I don't buy sets, so I don't buy like my rule of thumb is I like to create, not duplicate. So
Mm-hmm.
you won't see anything that is from a model of anywhere else.
Okay.
It's actually
Okay.
all of my own idea and design that I thought of.
Okay. Okay. So now, tell me what's unique about your building process when you get ready before you even put both bricks together. I mean, tell me about the thought process of even trying to engineer something that you do.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times I really don't have a clue what I'm going to end up building
Mm-hmm.
when I start putting pieces together. What I do is I'll set aside a bunch of bricks that I think I can use
Mm-hmm.
and design with. And then from
Mm-hmm.
there, I'll just kind of compile them as I build to see what kind of shape form comes out of it. And then in the end, I just pretty much put a square base at the end as the foundation, and there you have yourself a unique shaped tower.
Mm-hmm.
So, but a lot of times I don't even have an idea of what I'm going to build out of these parts,
Mm-hmm.
um, until I start kind of putting them together to get an idea.
Okay. Okay. All right. Good deal. Good deal. So, do you have any hobbies outside of Lego that you may carry over that you may carry into your mocks?
Um, Not really. I mean, the only really hobby I have outside from constantly working on these Legos is probably going out hiking and stuff.
Okay.
Um, but other than that, I mean, like photograph. I like taking pictures. I like to try to take them as good as possible, and I definitely
Yeah.
try to capture that when I take photos of my Legos to get
Yeah.
that wow factor in there. So,
Hmm. Okay.
but otherwise,
Yeah.
honestly, aside from work, sleep, and eat, it's pretty
Hmm.
much just Lego.
Just Lego. Yeah, man. Not bad, man. It's a good life, man.
Yeah. So,
So is this therapeutic for you, or is it like just the love of art?
honestly, it's both. It's definitely very therapeutic for me, especially when I
Hmm.
have like a hard day at work.
Hmm.
Um, I can come home knowing that it's like, all right, I got my own city that I can just kind of play mayor or god as, and just kind
Nice.
of, So I joke around once in a while, telling people the Legos keep my god complex at bay.
Right.
Because it's like I can control it all.
Right. Right. Oh yeah. Indeed,
So,
man.
you
Indeed,
know,
man. Indeed.
things
Not bad at
you
all.
can't control things out there, but I can come home knowing that I control this and like this is my little world.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Has your love for Lego helped you persevere through a difficult situation? Do you care to share?
um it probably has.
Hmm.
Mostly because Lego's always there, it never fails. I make sure when it helps me think so that I can process things, especially when it's like I have to come to decisioning of what I have to do. So it's also a way for me. It's kind of like my zen as well, because then it allows me to actually stop, process, and be like, all right, this, get a plot and a thought of how I need to attack things that are difficult that comes up. So,
Right. Right.
because like you look at a pile of Legos, it's chaos, it's a mess, there's no order. But then it's like you have this entire city that came from that pile, you know?
Indeed.
So,
Indeed. So, which one? And and it was tough too, because when I put this PowerPoint slide, and I told you I put this PowerPoint slide, it was tough trying to pick which ones not to do, because you kind of narrow it down. But because
yeah.
most of them were just about all my favorite. But which one of those builds that you did was your most difficult project?
That's a good one. I'd have to say, I think the most difficult project one would probably have been the museum,
Okay.
because it's so large, and the engineering that I had to do to make sure it was still strong and standing,
Mm-hmm.
especially since my cat likes to walk on it. So,
Nice.
but I'd have to say that's definitely using the small pieces. That was probably my biggest challenge in trying to
Okay.
engineer and figure out so that I can still get this accomplished.
Right. Okay. Now, coming fresh off of Philly, and I want to know, tell me about your experience with Philly. Coming fresh off of Philly, how important is the Lego AFOL community to you and your builds?
It is very important to me because it helps me get that burst of imagination again. Like
Mm-hmm.
it drives it, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like I see what other people have created, which then also like it jump starts my creativity level as to like, oh well, I can try to integrate this into my designing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also just cool to see, like, because this is all I build. This is really the only little niche that I do build in the micro. That
Right.
there's other creators there that build in a different form that I would never have thought of, which is really awesome to see because they're
Mm-hmm.
awesome pieces of work. So it's like, oh, that'd be awesome to try one day if I ever get
Right.
too bored of doing this.
Right.
And
Right.
it's really cool being able to go out and see that it's like you're not alone in the fact that you've got other Lego fan lovers out there that create their own thing. So
Indeed.
yeah,
Indeed.
yeah. I mean, it's nice because you have times where it's like I feel like I'm the only person that does this with Lego. No one lives close by that does this with Lego.
Right, right. Yeah, and that could be tough, man.
Yeah.
That really could be tough. We
So
kind of put
doing
ourselves in a box.
yeah. So it's like doing the Philly Brick Fest. It was really nice because it was nice to see a group of people that have the same passion with Lego as I do.
Hmm.
You know, and it's like because you don't get that every day here. In your
Right.
everyday life, you tell people about it, but then you have to like go deeper and like explain to them. It's like,
Hmm.
no, it's not like kid Lego. Like this is like a legit hobby art type form for me.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so
Awesome deal. Awesome deal. Now, you told me which one was the difficult one. Now, which one are you most satisfied with? Which one you could say this is my prize winner right here?
hmm, got a couple of them. I'd have to say maybe because it's just so brand new, I'd have to say the museum. But I also
Hmm.
have the orange glass tower that I made that fits in with this microscope very nicely. So I'm kind of proud of that as well. So, and then,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I'd have to say those two. At least for now.
Okay. So tell me, what was the most memorable interaction you had with someone regarding your Lego hobby?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I got many friends. No one's really gotten like really involved with it with me.
Uh-huh.
It's always kind of been just my thing. So, but I do have it like it's displayed everywhere in my apartment. So like whoever comes over, they see it. You know, they're
Mm-hmm.
all amazed by it. So, but other than that, though, it's pretty much just kept to myself. No one's really. I don't really let anyone like build with me with it because I have such a particular way that I build.
Okay.
So, but
I got you. All right, folks, this is the second half of On the Icebox with Iceberg Bricks. My guest today is one like no other. It's Structo27. He's on Instagram. Go follow him. And you'll see, because honestly, I'm going to show you this magnificent PowerPoint with all these pictures. And not only he's a Lego artist, but he's also a photographer. So he's a real artist. So that's what made it so difficult to pick these pictures. And it's loaded. It's way loaded. I went over my limit, and so we're probably going to be here for a little while. But it's worth it. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. So so I'm gonna share my screen here now. Luke, they can't see me and they can't see you. They only can see
okay.
the PowerPoint that I'm about to show them.
Okay.
All right. All right, folks. Get ready for the show. Get your popcorn ready because Luke is in the house. So how long you been for doing the photography thing?
I've been doing that. Let's see. Gotta remember, pretty much when I first got my first iPhone, because then I can actually have a camera.
Yeah.
But I've been probably trying to do that for about 6, 7 years, just kind of working at taking really good photos.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. So I look back in over your Instagram, and I looked back and I saw that I had to dig a little bit, and I saw that you posted that this was about from 4 years ago or so. And so is this like you said, is this the nucleus part of the mega city?
So that's actually so. When I was at my mom's, I brought it up from the basement, and that is actually so. What you see there, because there's actually I think like 2 pieces in there that I didn't bring to Philly Fest with me. Which would be like in that lower corner, you got that big structure, and the one kind of in the middle that's open. So funny story with that is I ended up making a cat bed because my cat sleeps in that one. So I never made a lid for it. I made a Lego cat bed. Who'd have thought?
Nice.
Yeah. And then, so with the starships that I have, originally I designed a structure that they would hide inside so that on the outside it just looks like a mega structure.
Okay.
But then later on, I was thinking like, well, why instead of parking the car on the outside of the city, how about we park it over it and build a platform?
Okay.
And so that's where I got the platform with the 2 towers kind of in the back.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah. And that's currently that's on a 4x8-foot tabletop that I rigged. I'm pretty sure that's expanded by now since it's now under my TV and it's currently my entire coffee table.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so that was about 4 years ago. I didn't have any I didn't have any of the bases built for a couple of the pieces. So it was kind of a pain in the butt to move. They were all on base plates, which are very floppy and not good in structure.
Right. I got you.
So, and with these models, they weigh a ton.
Yeah, they look like I saw you carry them in and out of your car at Philly, and you had to get a little extra help as well. But man, it's a sight to be had, man. Tell us on the right side. Describe, I mean, give us the details on the right.
So the picture on the right side,
Mm-hmm.
that is actually, so that is me putting the towers on one of the bases that I came up with as the idea for easy transporting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that all I'd have to do is take the towers down to the foundation so that I know where they were,
Mm-hmm.
while it also be structurally strong enough that I can move it and it's not going to flop, crumble. So, like, if I wanted to, I could move the whole thing with all the towers on it and it'd be
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
So, and it kind of gave it like that sub layer too, which is kind of cool because now it's like you got this little underground kind of like subway grid system you can put if you wanted.
Nice. 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 So tell us about this edition here.
So in that edition, you can see the four pieces, and you can see where two of them aren't at the same height as the third one in. So we're looking from the left to the right.
Okay.
So originally they were just that high, like those two pieces on the left.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but the problem was they were still at different height levels. So I was trying to engineer other pieces, and I came up with adding another sublayer underneath the sublayer to
Mm-hmm.
raise it up another 6.5 bricks, I think.
Okay.
So, and that was all four pieces sitting on my bureau when I was at my mom's. It was a
Okay.
very small bedroom.
Man, and you made it work too, because that's a lot of Lego sitting on top of a
Yeah.
bureau.
Yeah,
and,
it
it
is.
ain't moving. Oh man, wow. That is amazing. So engineering is working because it ain't moving.
No, I mean, you see it too, like some of it was overhanging on the bureau and it was still just standing there.
Right,
So even the overhang didn't have any effect on it wilting or anything.
right. Here we got another shot of that city here. And looks like I'm trying to see here. It looks like you added a few pieces from that piece to now a little bit.
A little bit. I think it's a different angle you're looking at it compared to the other
Ah,
picture.
right.
So I once in a while, like one of these days, I'd like to actually do this and take it all to a beachfront and get a nice waterfront
Mm-hmm.
picture as a background because that would just look awesome.
Right.
So I brought all these out and put them on my mom's patio table just to get a
Mm-hmm.
more natural sun and weather. Plus, they needed some dusting, so it was raining. I could wash them off at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I tried to get more of a natural, real earth picture of these things.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Good deal, man. Good deal. Now, when you design this city, particularly this one, I mean, any inspirations came to mind? Any particular cities came to mind?
um, no particular city specifically.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, maybe just a bunch of the main cities around the U.S. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you have like New York, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
You even like a lot of inspiration too now I get from is like Dubai, Singapore,
Mm-hmm.
um, Hong Kong. You know, so a
Okay.
lot of your huge cities around the globe just kind of inspire me when it comes to skyline view and design.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. All right. Tell us about this installation you have here.
So that is my original Luke's design sign that I made maybe like 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
using a lot of my transparent 1x2 plates, and then I just kind of jerry rigged the background and the case for it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and that's kind of like the remainder of what was left after a few years of having to constantly move and not having it packed. correctly, so the sign kind of fell in disarray, and it was just kind of looked like it was an abandoned sign, like Hollywood at the time. One time, so
Right.
but then I finally decided it's like, all right. I kept the actual letters and then reconstructed the letters that went missing, because, of course, those parts disappeared. Although I think I found more since organizing.
Okay. Okay.
And but instead of a white background being clear, it's like I need another background.
Mm-hmm.
So went to the Lego store, bought a bunch of large cups of 1x2 plates, and
Uh-huh.
just started to build the framework of the new sign. As you
Okay.
can see
Okay.
on the left and on the right.
Right. Okay.
So, and I'm not even sure like what gave me the idea to do like that plaid look with the
Mm-hmm.
different colors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it just kind of came out that way. And
Okay.
as I saw that, I was like, that's actually really cool. So I just started doing that. And even the higher I got and further down, I realized if I put one color in front of, like the pink in front of the purple, then later put the purple behind the pink, it
Mm-hmm.
then gives you that more intertwined look compared to just a single.
Right.
So even building the sign, I got more complex in the idea of designing.
Yeah, I see. Once you're in, man, you're in. I see, man. That technique is kind of like you say, you're intertwining colors, and so it's just like you're weaving a basket almost. So
Yeah.
you definitely got to
And
pay
you got to
attention because
remember
you
which way you just finished weaving.
that is remarkable, man. Wow. And that sign, and I think I got a picture of it, the finished product too. I think I do. Um, in the slide. So it is definitely remarkable. This right here
Yep.
still has me stunned. Like it has me stunned because I want to know how you did it, man. I want to know how you did
Well, let's see. I think it's literally like a brick and a plate height when
it.
it
Hmm.
comes to thickness of the actual platform.
Right.
And like, it's funny because actually I think the sign is like one of my proud things too, because I forgot about the sign since it's so
Okay.
packed away. So what you're looking there is, so you've got the new sign that I finished creating. And
Hmm.
then, so that's actually my coffee table that all sits on.
Hmm.
Um, so you can imagine now that that's not there, the new coffee table and the expansion of that. Bye,
Right.
squirrel. So that piece there, I call it the platform. And I was constructing that for at least a year and a half.
Okay. Okay.
And now a lot of the structures there I'd already had, so a lot of that I didn't have to buy. It was just changing here and there to fit into that piece.
Okay.
So
That is amazing, man.
there's an old one.
Yeah.
So that photo there, I actually took that in 2010 when I was displaying my work in Boston when they did the Kids Fest that one year.
Hmm.
So you're looking at a very old picture of the city, kind of still in its youth, because it's before I got all these other ones in the designs. So you have a lot of mixed bricks and old bricks.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
you see
Okay.
that tall building in the back that's discolored and everything, or
Hmm.
miscolored. I actually spent an entire Sunday reconstructing that very tower so that it had order, and it had order to the different colors,
Hmm.
and so that it would fit better into the skyline of the micro scale.
Gotcha. 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 Yeah, man. That thing is just, and it's just so much detail, and you know what? I'm at fault to for prejudging like micro builds because I think that like I was like, oh well, how can you capture the detail? I never knew you capture so much detail, so I started looking at some of your stuff, man, and I mean, it's a city skyline like from top to bottom.
Yep. And a lot of times it's not about how much detail you can get with the more pieces, but it's
Mm-hmm.
how much more detail can I get with little pieces, like no
Okay.
pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like the same idea of like a backdrop of an art piece
Okay.
of
Okay.
drawing. You know, it's not that you get a full sketch of a leaf, but just enough of a partial to give you that idea of the leaf. And so I kind of integrated that idea or concept into the actual buildings because it's not really getting as much detail as possible, but how can I get the details with what I have to seem like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more?
Yeah. A lot of plates I see, man. A lot of plates you use here. So the
Yeah,
picture,
pretty much about 80% of it is all plates.
all plates, yeah, man, and it just
Yeah.
open, Pandora's box for me because it's like, oh man, I'm sitting on a bunch of plates, but they're not into the project that I'm trying to do now, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with them, and now, I see this, and it's like, man, I could do something with these extras I have. So, um,
Yep.
the picture on the left, tell us about that picture, please.
So that one there, I displayed that. I belonged to a group. Was it NELUG?
Mm-hmm.
It was like a group in the New England area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for about a year or so, I was trying to do stuff with them,
Mm-hmm.
but then work kind of had to take leap and consumed all my time.
Right. Right.
Um, but there was a couple times I was able to bring my stuff up and display it when they had a couple of, I guess, shows.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, like that picture there, that's actually a picture of it on a 4x4 square foot table.
Okay.
So for the longest time, that's pretty much the radius of the buildings were,
Mm-hmm.
with even a few gaps still in between. So
Okay. Okay. And then let's see, you've got another view of your city on the right here. Looking.
yeah, um, that is again like I have the tallest tower I have is roughly 3 feet, which is that one in the center.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to me, that was kind of like a pretty big leap and step in my engineering when it came to my microscale as to the height of building
Mm-hmm.
things,
Mm-hmm.
especially with that because that's all brick. So it was pretty easy to get the height comparatively compared
Okay.
to transforming that into a plate. You're looking at a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That, I mean, you'd be bleeding through the nose.
yeah, so that's another shot of it actually still under construction, but the platform you kind of see in that corner there, it's not finished. I don't have
Right.
towers there.
Right. Right.
So
That's amazing. You got a city sitting on a platform that's holding up another platform for another city,
yeah,
or even like a spaceship docking. That's amazing. That's beyond imagination.
yeah. Yeah, that was funny because I was actually kind of like cleaning the leg room, so I was like,
Hmm.
I needed to put this somewhere. And I was like, oh, let's see if this will hold it. And so I just set it on there, and it was just holding. I was like, a city over a city. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
actually a cool concept.
It is, man. It is. It's prize winning, man. Definitely, man. Hands down. So like I noticed that you take photos of architect, and so like any inspirations to your builds at all?
Absolutely. Like that photo there of me in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was an awesome time because I didn't do absolutely nothing except walk Manhattan
Okay.
and took photos. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone asked me, it's like, did you go up in the tower? It's like, no, I just was walking everywhere. I'm pretty sure I covered all of Lower Manhattan
Right.
by
Right.
foot. Um, but the best part was always trying to get that camera shot of the new sections that are all under construction, the new structures. And it was actually very nice to finally even be at ground zero after all
Okay.
the years that I've wanted to have been there. So,
Okay.
because to me, ground zero, that's pretty much, that was the turning point of my love for engineering and architecture. That was
Mm-hmm.
pretty much my turning point in my life. That just kind of flared that up.
Okay. Okay. Good deal, man. Good deal. Ah, man. Like, so this building in the back, and I'm jumping. I'm jumping. I'm putting the cart before the horse. I am. The building in the back
Spiral.
that is a spiral.
Yeah,
What
I
was
call
the
it my spiral.
what was the inspiration behind that, man?
So that I actually got that idea from one of my friends who lives in Boston. He's a Lego fan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he he's more of a Lego train fan.
Mm-hmm.
But while at one of the shows that we were at, he a lot of times I bring a lot of my loose Legos so that I can build while I'm there because that's
Okay.
just what I like to do. Like
Mm-hmm.
sit there, let people see it, and keep building as I'm doing it.
Okay.
And so he took my 1x1 studs and the 1x2 transparent plates,
Mm-hmm.
and he was showing me how when you stack them just right, you can then create a circle. And
Okay.
so he did that, and so I had like literally this ring. I actually still have it, the one that he started,
Mm-hmm.
because so um, so I finally one day just took that and I was like, you know what? I'm going to create my first circular tower.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't remember how long that took me, but it definitely took me a couple of days because I really didn't know what I want to do for a pattern.
Okay.
Because it was like, well, because I wanted to definitely change the color as it went up, because it
Mm-hmm.
kind of reveals the building process that you actually use to make this circular possible.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that
Definitely
was a
good
fun
deal,
one to
man.
play with.
Yeah, yeah, definitely good deal. And I look into your city here, and I look into this shot here. Not one building looks like the next, man. I mean, like that you got definitely variety and a wide range of builds here inside this section of your city.
Yep. Well, I'm one of those that I do not like cookie cutters.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll only find one building that is the same. The parts may be the same, but the building will not be the same.
Okay.
So, because I mean, you only have so many different shapes before you're kind of duplicating it. So I try to design them so that they're not looking like they all look the same, just in a different color, or they're just slightly different here and there. I try to make it so that they are unique to themselves in the skyline, and you wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
know that the tower next to it's using the exact same pieces.
Oh yeah, definitely. So on the right, you have a design where you made a sign, a name, and
Yeah.
looks like oh, it looks like that platform. Oh,
Yeah, I
look at
have it
that.
sitting on that platform so I can
Yeah.
take that photo. So I
Okay.
made actual two name signs,
Hmm.
one for Justin and the other one said Liz. And I actually made those for two coworkers that I had worked with for over 5 years,
Okay.
because I was leaving my job and going completely in the left field and trying something completely out of my comfort zone. So, as a goodbye present and to kind of remember me by, I gave them basically a nameplate right there, so that it's they have something to look at and be like, I remember that kid.
Right.
So
Right. Let's see here. All right, all right. So now this, I look at this one here, and this actually looks like Chinatown to me because of the bright colors, like the red and the yellow, and then you got the, of course, like Japan and Tokyo have like the big skyscrapers.
Yeah.
Any comparison? But I mean, what do you think?
I would have to say there's definitely some of their work in there.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not like intentional, might be more unintentional, but I was just
Mm-hmm.
trying to think of certain pieces that I have and how I can use them. Like that red one there in the center are
Mm-hmm.
actually I think they're the 4x6 plate with the wheel wells. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you know what I'm talking about. But I came up and I've had them forever, and I'm like, I need to figure out how I can use this because I'm tired of having them hanging around.
Right.
So I've finally realized and discovered how I can use it so that it works with the microscale city, and it
Okay.
kind of and you would never know that that part was being used.
Okay.
And then the
Okay.
green tower on the left
Mm-hmm.
was a smaller form of my idea of doing a different type of stacked spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you actually had a looked at it in a more in depth, you'd see that it was actually doing they're just squares, but they're doing a spiral going up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I do. I do. I see it. Yep. I see it. Man, well thought out, man. Definitely well thought out. All right, and then you integrate the was it the one by one rounds into the builds too?
Yeah, so those are so that tower was built using 1x1 studs,
Mm-hmm.
the plate studs. I'm not even sure what you
Mm-hmm.
call them, honestly. Um, and I had, and a lot of times I would use those studs for piecing the big plates together for the skeleton of the skyscraper that I would have.
Okay.
And once I was done, they would come off and they go back in the cup.
Mm-hmm.
But I got bored one day and I was just like, I have these 1x8s plates that I was like, what can I build with these? I was like, how can I build a skyscraper using these 1x8s? And then I came up with the idea of like, well, why don't I use the 1x1 round plates? And
Mm-hmm.
what I did was I ended up just stacking them a certain number high. I think I think it was 10 high each. Um, and then I had the idea, I was like, well, I have these three colors. I can have it fade from the dark to the clear. And so I went with the blue and then like that light blue to the transparent.
Okay.
So, and then I did sections of three of two colors and just two of the one. And I just pretty much stacked it with the solid color being in the cross beam in the center. And it actually
Ah,
came out
okay.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was actually kind of impressed with myself with that one too. I was like, oh, that actually came out really good. So
Yeah.
I started building very narrow towers, but together, they're strong because they're interlinked with each other. So they're supporting each other as they go up.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, and I mean the variety of colors too. So it's not mundane. Most skyscrapers you go to New York City is like all one color. So look, you definitely mixing it up here with the
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah. And then I just got bored at work at the new job, and I was just like, I'm gonna start building this. So, because there's a lot of downtime in between clients.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. I believe it, man. Yeah, you gotta, idle minds, man. You gotta keep your hands moving, man.
Yep.
So, what was the
So,
inspiration on this build? Tell us about this build.
ironically, so that tower there was what
Hmm.
I call a garbage build, because I just built it as a filler just to build something. Like, there's honestly nothing to it. I
Okay.
had No, and it was just kind of like a desperation type build. And
Okay.
so I don't even remember where I had it in the city way back, but it was just kind of like one of those quick fillers. It was there. I had it, so I made it work. Um, but even then, it was one of those where it's like I hate it because it's boxy. You've got this massive like just it didn't appeal to me at all in the skyline. So it was like, of course, every city has one of those, right? That
Mm-hmm.
horrible skyscraper design. Yeah, that was that.
Right. Right.
So for the longest time, I kind of hid that in the closet. I was just like, I'll just leave that there for now.
That thing looks good, man. Don't hide that away.
I hid it away, but then so I ended up. So what happened was what got me rebuilding again um, was my new job was in Boston in an office, and so I had this flat surface over the cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
file cabinet, and I was like, well, I know what can go here. So I slowly started bringing up Lego plates, and I would come home and start building off these plates because now I got my measurement of what I have for real estate, basically.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and so once I knew what I could use for base plates for the city, I came home every time I came home on the weekends I was off. I was constructing skyscrapers and be like, all right, this tower here, this tower there. And so I finally figured out the photo on the left. I took
Mm-hmm.
that tower and I tore it apart and integrated all of those pieces into the tower that is now on the right.
Okay. 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 Okay.
So the tower that it was, you can see how it was like, okay, here we go. I finally figured something out. I got enough parts of the angles. So I tore it down and integrated it into the new skyscraper that was going to go into the office, which is the end result right there on the right.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's awesome, man. So
Yeah, yes, that
what
tower.
inspired this one here? What inspired
So
this
so that one I got myself inspired with the idea of so that same thing. So that was going to go in the office.
Okay.
That's going to be in that skyline, and I was like, I have these 1x1 transparent plates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so I had the idea. Well, what if I just stack them? But not only just stack them one color for the, I think that's like a 1x12 or something.
Okay.
But instead of just stacking one color right across the board there, how about I then just take my red one and the white, and at different levels, just kind of tier them that way all the way. So now it kind of looks like a voice or a dialogue thing there.
Okay. Okay.
And that design I came up with, that idea was because I needed a place to hide my phone at the office.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so in between those two pieces, my phone perfectly sits. So you'd never know my phone was there. You just see a skyscraper.
I
But I
got you.
can
Got you.
easily just grab my phone from it too.
Man, this thing is like magnificent. And like this is and that building you just described is in the back of this city skyline here, and this is like you kind of give me like an oriental feel a little bit.
Yeah. Um, so I had the idea. So that tower in the center that's got the overhang, I had to engineer that. I knew they were going to have the overhang because the I'm I'm one of those where it's not done building until every stud is tiled. Otherwise, it's like it's clearly not finished to me. So I had to figure out a design for this tower, all using, I believe it's 2x8 uh, tan plates, And then I had the cup of 1x2 sand green plates, which I used to make the solid green. And I believe, yeah, that sits over the highway, if I recall right.
Okay. Okay.
Or over the avenue. I don't think it's highway, it's the avenue. So you can kind of imagine like that's actually sitting over the road. Um, and so it kind of, with having that overhang as the roof parts, I was able to use the pieces necessary and then still give like that oriental feel. And it was just a different look amongst all the skyscrapers that wasn't used a lot. So I was like, that would be perfect for it.
Man, I think it's the same city, just a different view of it, right? Just the top.
Yep. Oh, changed it. Yeah, so there's my, that's using the, what is
Okay.
it? The 4x4 curved plates. And then
Mm-hmm.
again, I stacked a bunch of the studs together as the windows and then just did the two support beams in the back. And that's what I got out of it for a tower.
Okay. Okay.
Different look, but I usually utilize the pieces to get a height and all that.
Okay. Let's see what you got here. All right. This is another shot of that city right here, folks. All right. Let's see. It's another shot there. All right. So tell us about this one here on the right. I think did we see this? No, I don't think I've ever seen this one.
So the one on the right, so those are one of my favorite towers because that's actually a tower that I designed on the computer using
Okay.
the Lego program that Lego came out with.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome, but the one downfall of that is you can't exactly on calculating gravity and if it's structurally sound or not. So
Yeah.
needless to say, the original design does not have the crosswalk up there.
Okay. The crosswalk. Yeah.
I ended up having to put that in after because I realized that it wasn't strong enough to support themselves with the design that I did because I'm using 6x6 plates, but because they're so tall,
Uh-huh.
they now become very wobbly.
Okay.
So independently, they couldn't stand by themselves strongly. So I ended up just throwing in that sky walk to support each other, which then made them be able to be strengthened to stand by themselves.
Okay.
Which actually I am currently working on a little renovation of that skyscraper currently too, actually. So
Okay. Okay.
more
So
upgrades.
some of your inspiration right here on the left, a bit of your inspiration, like this is, you
Yeah.
know, okay. All right. So tell us about this magnificent spaceship, my man.
All the spaceships that I have, including that one, I designed using the Lego program, and I was
Okay.
able to get the pieces to actually build them. And that's
Okay.
one of the earlier models that I actually had designed,
Uh-huh.
um, and I was able to purchase. Um, and that's actually a photo of it when I was outside and it was raining. But it's actually one of my favorite, and it's funny because the the actual base of that ship
Uh-huh.
is the same every black ship that I've designed. The only thing that changed was just the top portion in its design.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
And then you have the white starship there.
Uh-huh.
And eons ago, when I first discovered the Lego program, that was like a fucking gift from God for me because I never had Legos and I had all these ideas and I needed to get them out.
Right.
So when I discovered this program, I was like, I could finally say these ideas and get some sleep, because I would literally stay up all night because I didn't want to lose these ideas and concepts.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, so I literally use it as a memory base, so that it's like, good, it's there, it's saved. I don't have to remember it because it's already there.
Right. Right.
You know, pull that up later. I can't do that in my head anymore. Um, and so when I started on that program, certain colors were available in a certain size plate, which
Okay.
allowed me to design starships, but only in a certain color. Well, that's when I started as a. I started with my own entire imagination, and from watching all the sci-fi shows, that I started coming up with my own story of, well, this color will represent a different planet.
Okay.
So when you see a different color ship, you're actually looking at a ship design, and that's from a different like solar system. So you've got the black ship design, then you have like the white one, which is from another solar system. Then on the computer, I've got blue, red, dark gray. I even have light gray, which would have been for Earth. So it became this massive story in my head
Mm-hmm.
when I started to build with this program, which then I even went as far as integrating the original city and the starships that I have that are faded and discolored.
Okay.
Even
Okay.
use that into the beginning of the whole story. Like, this is how crazy, insane amount of time I had in my life to do all this.
Awesome deal. Awesome deal. So tell us about these. Now, in this city, I think this was part of the city that you had at Philly, but this was like the smaller high rises than the larger ones that you were
Yes.
displaying.
Yep. So that was made in one weekend right there.
Okay.
So you're looking at a Saturday and Sunday build.
Uh-huh.
And those, I got those because that I got those inspired because of the office that I had in Boston, and that's where those were.
Okay.
So none of those existed or even thought of until I had all this real estate in this office, and
Okay.
then that's when the building boom began, basically. Um, and so I just went through all my Legos, and I would scrap these Legos together and be like, what can I build with these? And then how can I, with what I don't have, what can I use to fill in
Okay.
so that I can still keep an organized miscolor of different things?
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
You know, because it's like, it don't matter if they're discolored. The only thing that matters is there order to it.
Right. Yeah.
It's when there's no order that it's like, you didn't think this one through.
No, you should. Yeah. 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 I could. I could.
You
I
know,
could definitely. I could
yeah,
definitely
I
relate.
OCD
Yeah.
with that myself. So, and that's actually a picture of it sitting in my office right there.
Okay. Okay. And you put a little bit of Star Wars troopers in your builds.
I did.
Okay.
I call it my Star Wars monument.
Mm-hmm.
That's before I found his helmet. Um, I clearly found his helmet because he now has it when I was in Lego Fest. And so I had these two stormtroopers that were different helmets.
Okay.
So I ended up just putting Darth Vader in the center, and then the two different stormtroopers, and then there's another spot that it kind of looks like the guy's just standing there looking up at him, kind of
Okay.
like the whole throne thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I turned it into a Star Wars monument because it's like, well, I got these minifigures of Star Wars, and it's like trying to figure out like how can I throw these into the city,
Okay.
you know. So I use them. So minifigs are kind of used as statues throughout the actual city.
But I said, yeah, bad. That's a good implementation, man. For that, it definitely is a good way to implement the minifigs. And I was
Yeah,
trying to figure out how to do, how to do it. How would people do it? But that, I mean, that's a good way to represent them.
yeah, yeah. They would pretty much be like statues throughout the city or within the structures themselves.
Hmm.
So
So this blue and orange building right here with the orange studs. Tell me about that
Yep.
building.
That was actually a fun one. I'm not fully complete with that because I still have to finish tiling the base.
Okay.
Um, but that was kind of like a last minute, like, oh, I've got all these black angles, and then it's like, well, all I have to do is cap the ends so that it kind of creates a structure.
Okay.
And then what I did was I was like, because so where those studs are is where I would normally put like a blue 1x1 plate so that it's
Hmm.
just a solid square. But because I
Okay.
don't have those, I was like, well, I can use these solid orange round ones, and it would
Hmm.
still add um, architectural color to it.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
And so in the end, that's what I ended up with as a result.
Okay.
So I still got to tile the blue at the base, but I already built with the foresight of knowing I'm going to have that plate there. So I built it up one higher than usual.
Hmm.
So so I even have I have the foresight of when I build and I know I can't finish a certain spot, I make sure it's like, well, this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. So I need
Hmm.
to raise it at least this one more high.
Okay. Okay. All right. And here's the oh yeah, with the 1x1 rounds here. You stacked them up pretty large, man. Now, how do you decide
Yeah.
what color goes with what, though? I mean, how do you decide that?
A lot of times I just kind of throw it together. Like I'll sit there like with the orange and blue and be like, does that look like it'd be a cool color combination? Like in the
Hmm.
or like I used the lime green for the solid color in that because I knew that would pair very nicely compared to orange
Okay.
with all three colors because orange is very bright and somewhat loud. Where with that lime green,
Hmm.
it's bright, but it's not a loud bright. So it would allow you to still view the color change of the actual transparent,
Okay. Okay.
where the orange would subtract that because you're just stuck looking at the orange.
Right. Okay.
So it's kind of like that idea. It's like once I get the idea, it's like I kind of prefab it in my head as to what it would look like and would it be better with this color or that color.
Right. Okay. All right. All right. Man, it's a magnificent city layout you have here, man. I definitely enjoyed looking at it in Philly. I mean, and like the hits keep going on. Like even this one here. What? I mean, was this like a weekend build, or what inspired this blue and red building that you're
Actually,
showing
that
here?
blue and red was actually on the job build.
Okay.
I
All
was
right.
actually
All
sitting
right.
in my office. Yeah, I was in the office. Like I brought the parts to work, and I was like, I was in the office between people,
Okay.
and slowly constructing that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I decided, like, instead of just every other plate be a transparent and whatnot, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what if I did every plate and then two transparent, and then I was like, let's put a pattern to it. So
Ah,
instead
okay.
of just the usual every other, what if I did every other and then two, and then every
Right.
other again?
Switch up the
So
pattern. Yeah.
yeah, so it kind of changes it up, even though it's just square, but at the same time, it's different because the pattern isn't what you see in the rest of the skyline.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, definitely different contrasts. Definitely.
Yeah,
It's another
it is a
shot of
Star
the
Wars.
monument. There it is, right there. Yeah. Yeah. That's a hell of an idea, man. I wouldn't even, like people, I guess, as builders, we get, one track minded, and it's good to be diverse. And I mean, you're able to actually incorporate the minifig into your micro scale builds here.
Yeah. Well, to me, like that's part of the fun is it's the challenge. Like, okay, here's a new challenge. How can I integrate, like, especially minifigs because everyone else when I'm displaying my stuff, everyone's doing minifigure models
Hmm.
and designs. So it's one of those where it's like, well, now how can I make this like work with just a normal minifig city? So by integrating those statues, it kind of gives you the idea of like, well, maybe this is just a fun city that minifigures walk around in, you know?
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
it also gives you that idea, which
Right.
allows you to then be like able to integrate this into a normal backdrop.
All right. All right. So tell us about this yellow skyscraper you got here.
So that one was a challenge because in its footprint, I had another one of another yellow. It's kind of funny. I had a picture. I don't know if it's still on there, but there's one of the before and after. And the before it just looked like it was a bunch of 2x4 yellow bricks just stacked up in a square boxy
Okay.
horrible view. Um, but I knew I wanted it to be yellow there, and I knew it was going to be something dealing with those, but I wasn't sure how I was going to finish and finalize
Okay. Okay.
that real estate. So I started going through all my yellow that I separated, and I noticed I had all these. I guess you say 1x2 curves brick. Um, and so I was like, huh. I was like, I know I can use these, and I know I can engineer a way to use these, but the question
Okay.
is how. And so to me, it was how can I engineer this so that I can put this in there and at the same time use these pieces that normally you just can't think of using at a micro scale.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's a curve, they're hard to connect and anchor with each other. So what I did was so they're actually stacked, and I actually have to remember. I don't even remember how I anchored them, but I think I used plate curves that fit them. I think that's why there's like a gray up there as well.
Okay.
So I made a square base, which then kind of tiered itself up, which allowed the curved pieces to come out. So it kind
Okay.
of looks like this curved tower is coming out of a square box.
Right. It does.
It
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah.
it's actually being chiseled out.
Right.
Um, which was a really cool concept that I thought of. And so once I was able to cap it, I just thought it'd be really cool to use the scorpion and the two, I guess, arrowhead things as like the
Yeah.
antennas or the final part of the architecture of
Mm-hmm.
that tower, because it's so unique as well.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah. Look.
even
Mm-hmm.
ended up running out of my yellow curve pieces, so I was like, but I had black ones, so I was like, well, if I use it in a certain pattern here, it'll just look like it's part of the architecture. So I
Right.
was able to get away with putting in the black to fill in the missing pieces of the yellow that I ran
Oh, the
out of.
yellow ones. Right. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so even while building these things, I'm constantly running out of the things that I need, and I'm having to um, find other means to finish it by using other colors. But as long as it's just finding a color coordination to it to pull that off.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Definitely good deal, man. Yeah, this thing is just, I mean, this whole city landscape is just magnificent, man. I mean, that you got this build here. I really, really adore here. Now, tell us the story about this spiral building here. Now, to me, it looked like you put a bulb inside, but you didn't put a bulb. Tell us what happened.
I didn't. So the way it sat in my room or in the Lego room there at my mom's, when the sun came up, it would come through the window at an angle. And of course, working in Boston and traveling from the middle of Rhode Island, getting up at the crack of dawn every day. Well, one day while getting ready to run out the door, I'm leaving my room and I look across my room and I see that tower just lit up like a light bulb, literally. And I was just like, what, dang. I was like, I'm going to be late, but there's no way I'm not taking a picture of this because I'll probably never see this happen again.
Right.
And it's literally the sunrise coming through the window and just hitting that tower and a little bit of the white tower there. So it was just the perfect setting for it, and it just looked like it just. So that tower looked like it was just all lit up when it was just the sun gleaming right through it on the window.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, man.
It's one of my favorite photos right there.
Yeah, that's definitely a prize winner, man. I mean, all natural light too. On top of that, it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, yeah. So this is how you got a city sitting on top of a city, man. It don't get no better than this.
Yeah.
And these platform builds, man. That's. I think this is your signature, man. I think this is it.
Yeah. I definitely would love to build more platforms. I got enough ships. They all need it. They need
Hmm.
landings. One platform ain't enough for at least, I think 5 ships that I have.
Right, right.
So I definitely that's definitely a goal is to get maybe even a few from my computer and slowly start making those become real.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I was cleaning that day and I needed a place to put this piece, and I was like, I'll just throw it on this. This looks like it'll be at least large enough to hold. I wasn't sure if it was going to hold, but it held.
Hmm.
And I was like, huh, even I impressed myself.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is. It's just it's amazing. Yeah, and it's not shimmering and not shaking. It's totally solid, man.
Yeah.
There's a few more views of the inside. Now, take me now. This is what I wanted to stop at right here. This is it right here. So you got the the micro city, and then you got the micro city inside the micro city, and then that building that's sitting behind the micro city is awesome too. Tell us about this micro city.
So that the micro city, that is what really gives you the concept and even the depth to just how large these skyscrapers are. Because like with New York itself, you got downtown Manhattan. All these
Mm-hmm.
like one tower is a square block, but then
Mm-hmm.
you've got just further up the island, you've got what would have been a square block is actually like 4 blocks of mid rises.
Right.
Um, and that's definitely one of the things that I realized that my city was missing in all the skyline was I'm missing the actual mid rises into residential. You're missing that concept of okay. So, and let me tell you, it's more tedious building these micro cities than it is
Mm-hmm.
building a big city.
Oh yeah,
Because I'm
believe it.
sitting there with all these little different parts and just tediously filling in these little tiny neighborhoods that I have pre out. So it's definitely more challenging building those things in the fact that it's more tedious than anything.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I think that's the biggest part. It's more tedious because they're just so small. It takes a
Yeah.
lot more to fill in a spot
Yeah.
while still
Definitely for the
keeping them
detail.
different.
Yeah.
I try to do it so that I did different heights all the time and different shapes, and there's not too many, looking the same. I like to try to keep the transparent and the colors different from the next structure next to it to keep its identity of
Mm-hmm.
its
Mm-hmm.
own structure. So it's definitely challenging, but it's also fun because it's allowing me to be creative with all these tiny parts that I was like, I can't even figure out what to do with these. So
Right. Of course.
I'm using all my 2x2 plate rounds
Mm-hmm.
that are hard to put in a regular skyscraper in general, let alone. So it's like they're perfect for my mid rises.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows me to also like using curved pieces like that are allowing me to use my curved transparent studs as well. So it's
Okay.
allowing me to be more creative in that form as well.
Good deal, man. All right, tell us about this orange building. It almost looked like you were almost headed towards like a sports arena type thing, and then it went up almost.
Yeah. So initially, when I started building this, it was all transparent. There wasn't even orange in it.
Okay.
Um, but then I realized when I got pretty much what it looks like there. I realized I need a color in there so that you can see the actual. You can see the 3D and the shape and design of the structure because it just blurred together. It just would have
Okay.
looked like a clear blur. You wouldn't
Right.
have gotten the depth of its design.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest project that I've been working on lately has been in my kitchen. And I've been installing a Lego backsplash, and I ran out of a color, so I had to go back to the Lego store, and they had black and orange, so I picked up 3 cups of both.
Mm-hmm.
And I put some orange in with it and realized it does not go well with the other colors, so I stopped using it. So I had orange, and so I realized as I was building this structure, it's like, well, I got 3 cups orange. I'm going to use orange. This tower is now going to be orange and clear because
Right.
I have so much to it. So all that orange is 1x2 plates mixed in with 1x2 transparent brick. That was fun. So I had to tear it. I had to take the structure off its foundation. I kept it constructed, but what I did was I would deconstruct it from the bottom and reinstall it on the foundation with the orange integrated in it, woven in it. So I ended up with more. I actually saved myself some extra clear bricks for doing that, which was good because it took a whole large cup of bricks as well.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
for that. So you're looking at 2.5 cups of Legos just for that tower.
Yikes. Yeah. Yeah.
Just for that tower.
So I'm walking through the halls of the Philly Brick Fest, and I walk up and I see this magnificent like city structure. It's beyond the skyline. It should be a planet. Like you got the city planet of micro scale buildings. Um,
Yeah.
and this is awesome. Tell us about the ship museum.
So the ship museum, I've had this idea for about 2 years. I started actually construction of this idea about 1.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it all started with the interior framework. And the idea of a museum actually came when I was trying to figure out how can I house the original starships that I had that started all of this thriving city metropolis. Um, and it's one of those is like, what better than to have a museum to display where it all began and with what? So I was like, okay, I already got the idea and the concept. It's going to be a museum. I want it all glass. Now I got to figure out how am I going to pull this off?
Right.
And
Right.
not to mention, like, what shape do I want it? Because I was trying to go for like an angle, more
Mm-hmm.
slope like roofing. But as I put certain parts together, I realized it's not quite doable without having to put a lot of money into special parts, even on Bricklink.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, no. I want something that I can build a little cheaper and with bricks that I can readily get my hands on so that I can literally build it when I want to start building it and easily and know that when I run out, I can just wait a few weeks, then go back, buy more, and add more to it. Where it's like,
Right.
it can't, I don't, where if you got to wait for your order and it's like, I'm too impatient that way half the time. So I came up, so what I did was, I came up with the idea like, okay, the glass is going to be the 1x2 bricks.
Uh-huh.
And it was just now, how am I going to do it so that it is all transparent glass window on the outside? There's no actual solid color like a lot of my skyscrapers. You know, it's like I wanted the support beams to be indoors with it blanketed with the transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came up with the engineering of using 1x2 plates that I had, and I think I used maybe one large cup for each color, which was pink and purple that I had, because
Okay.
that's what they were selling in the wall at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so what I did was I just made squares, and then they would sit on each other, which then would support each other, which would then also be the foundation for the glass roof that
Okay.
would be built by building outwards instead of stacking.
Okay.
And Lego just so the Lego store just so happened to have the pieces necessary to make that even possible as well. So I got a nice large cup of those too. So I knew I had them when time came.
Right.
Um,
And so what's so magnificent about it is that those simple colors that you just stacked up, the purple and the pink, allows the building to have color because you're using the transparent clear bricks on the outside. So you have color without even having colored brick on the outside. And I think that right there says a lot.
yeah. And then you kind of see it on the side of the photo in the back, but you got 3 support beams that are green, the sand
Mm-hmm.
green. Again, that's another color that was sold on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of running out of the pink and the purple. So I was like, I need another color. And those 3 just really complement each other very nicely.
Yeah.
To the point I have it on my backsplash. But what was also nice was I was able to finally utilize those yellow, I guess, beams
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for like the minifigures because they're so big and tall. I was like, I really don't know what I can use these for. But then I realized those are tall enough to actually be my support beams for the center columns
Mm-hmm.
because they're taller than the largest ship that I have from the original time,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
which was perfect. So now it was just making sure I can space them out perfectly so that I knew how wide it would be so that everything would fit in comfortably enough so that it's like one of those open floor plan museums where you just come in, you see all of them walk around. So my favorite part was finally utilizing those pieces, those yellow pieces that I definitely would have a hard time figuring where am I going to put these in a micro scale.
Right.
Because I came up with this mega structure museum, I finally utilized those pieces, and I
Huh.
actually had enough of too. So that's one of my favorite things.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, I like this. I like that scene right there. That's cool. Right there, good sir. One more question before I let you off the ice box. So you're at your next Lego convention, and in fact, you are the feature presentation because of the work that you have laid down. 6-year-old kid comes over to you and asks you, "How can I build like that?" What do you tell him?
Imagination. I don't know. I mean, because what is it? Because I even have adults coming over and they're like, how do you even build like that?
Hmm.
And honestly, it's just, I tell them, it's like, honestly, it just kind of comes to me. But
Hmm.
it's like, I started out building with brick.
Okay.
I didn't learn this technique until after I was building with brick that I realized just skip every other plate, and that created a more realistic window skyline view.
Hmm.
And then once transparents became available, just insert those in the gap, and then I was like, boom, there is what looks like a very real micro scale skyscraper.
Right. Right.
But a lot of it is you look at the pile, and you just kind of you let your eyes do the looking, and then you
Hmm.
do the calculating of certain parts. You know, it's
Hmm.
like it's like what Lego is with brick in general. Is it's with 3 bricks, you've got like numerous different ways you can stack them or build with them.
All right. All
So
right.
you just do that same premise, you know, just with the smaller pieces. What can I build using these small pieces in that same manner? It's just, it's a smaller scale. It's not a bigger scale. So it's
Right.
not as in depth and as detailed as Lego Man houses.
Okay. Good deal,
So
man.
it's
Good
just
deal, man.
keep that imagination alive, and you'll find your way of figuring out how to build these things. You know, it's if it's not productive or constructive, I'm not going to invest my time in it. You know,
Definitely.
because it doesn't benefit anyone.
Definitely. Good
You
word,
know,
words to live by, man. Words to live by. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Man, I want to thank you for coming on to the Icebox, man. Let me look through your stuff, man, and have you explain each build, man. I definitely appreciate it, man. I definitely appreciate you coming down to Philly Brick Fest and displaying your artwork. Um, Hey, folks, that's going to wrap it up for us. Thanks for watching on the Icebox. And you can tune in if you missed anything. Definitely go back. Definitely go check out Structo27. That's Structo27 on Instagram. And you know, like his pages, like his photos, and follow him as well, because he's got a plethora of photos to share for you. With that, I bid you peace, love, and Lego. Have a good night, everyone.